if you over-rely on time management techniques and it's just not working, it's because you've missed out on the biggest enabler of all, you. So ditch the outdated notion of time management stuff and focus instead of managing yourself within the time that you have. Your time is precious, make it count. Hey there, I'm Mags, also known as the Marketer Whisperer. If you've ever felt the doubts and pressures of leadership starting to sap your confidence and passion for this amazing job, then this podcast is for you. As a former marketer myself, I've lived through the chaos of consumer brands for over 16 years, so I do get what you're going through. And that's enough to leave any smart and driven marketer feeling like a burnt out version of their former self. But it doesn't have to be this way. So on this show, I'll be sharing pragmatic tips and also real stories to help you feeling confident, creative, and passionate about marketing leadership again. The marketing team meeting is starting in 17 minutes. I gotta be ready for that, and I need to grab a cuppa first. I need to remember to send a brief to Leo Burnett Agency before 4 p.m. What else do I have on? What version are we on? Final 17 final or final 17 final version 2? I need to ask the team, and I need to go over the proposal, then the brief. What's that email? The CEO is asking me again something. Is it urgent? Oh, come on. Anyway, that's as far as my acting goes. That continues. Basically, this is the type of discussion and conversations you've got in your head for hours and hours. So this week I want to challenge you to not make time as an excuse. Don't make time the excuse. Instead, focus on managing yourself. I speak to many marketing leaders in my role as a coach now. And I've been one myself, marketing leader before, where I was accusing time to be the main culprit for the fact that I was tired, the fact that I didn't have the time to go over certain documents, that I would be running late, that I would have endless days. My days would just finish after 8 or 9 sometimes p.m. And I was awful. So the pandemic has turned up the pressure cooker even more. It's really led us to have days crammed with back-to-back meetings and nights of exhaustion. I mean, some people don't have a personal life anymore because whilst they put the kids to bed or they, commute back home, what they do is to open up the laptop and finish off a couple of tasks, because it's not even to get ahead, it's to catch up on where they feel they're behind. And that used to be my reality as a head of brand. And now, even more as a leadership coach, as I talk to a lot of you guys, I've seen this play out too often amongst marketing leaders I work with. It's very clear that the traditional time management isn't cutting it anymore. I would even say it's bullshit or bollocks, whatever you prefer as a B word. We need a shift from managing time to managing ourselves within the time that we have. And that big old illusion of time management is overrated. We've all been there, attending yet another time management training, living inspired, but soon falling back into old habits. The truth? You can't manage time. It's a finite resource, and we get nothing back. We can't buy units of it. We can't slow it down. Despite all the very romantic expressions that we have come up with about time, we've poetically created so many of them. I mean, I'm going to take off my very pragmatic hat and put on my first degree. I've got no humor, nor can see things figuratively kind of hat. So running out of time. Why? When do we actually run out of time? This is not time just speeding up and just disappearing in front of us. We're not seeing the number of units of time going down. It's down to us. It is down to us and how we manage ourselves within the time that we've got. Saving time. How do you save time? Can you put some time aside? That's another expression. Putting some time aside that you can just get, grab at some point when you need some. Can you add time to the day? We can't. Living on borrowed time. Making time off too much time on one's hand. I mean, I wish we had too much time on our hands in one's own time. And yet we all get the same 24 hours. They go at the same pace, regardless of us, of what happens around us. The key lies in changing our mindset from having time to making time. Making time for what matters, in fact. As marketing leaders, the game changer is how to set priorities. I know those words become very like wallpaper because we hear them all the time and they start losing their meaning. That priority setting is more just about a task list. It's about consciously deciding what really deserves your attention and focus. And you can't just let it down to time. You've got to keep the rein on it. You are in control, despite what you think. So here's how you can start making that shift using these very pragmatic and practical steps. So the first one is pause and reflect. So start the day with some sort of intention. You can ask yourself, what do I want to achieve today? This is a simple question that can transform how you basically approach everything from projects to meetings, ensuring you're not just busy, but genuinely productive. And the busyness is not a good thing. Productivity is good because it's you choosing how you want to manage time, the time that you've got. So I would even stretch it to this week or this month. What do I want to achieve this month? The next 3 months, in fact. But if you're not doing this at all right now, start just with today, make it a healthy habit, and progressively expand the time scale down the line to a week, a month, 3 months. Especially if you're a marketing leader, you've got to look ahead way more than you used to when you were a brand executive or brand manager. The second one is plan well ahead, just like I've started to talk about. Block off time in your calendar for your top priorities. If strategic thinking is crucial, which in your job should be, schedule uninterrupted periods of it. And I'm sure many of you have tried blocking half a day, blocking a whole day, and then you end up having done nothing about what you had set yourself to do for the day. You were distracted by things, calls happening, emails popping up. Treat these time blocks as non-negotiable. You've got to find a way that's going to work for you, either actually working away from your laptop, disconnecting it from the internet if you have to, turning off the notifications. A lot of you end up sacrificing those blocks, to answer one urgent email, which will turn into checking your mailbox every couple of minutes, or it could be because someone else needs your help. You have got to be very strict with yourself and not sacrifice this block of time. No one will do it for you. So again, when I say it's not about time lacking, but it is about you and how you manage yourself. Can you see now what I mean? It's not time that just, got away from you. It's because you've not been in control and you have not been on top of what you wanted to achieve that day. You had good intentions, but you didn't follow through. The third one would be to remember to reflect afterwards. At the end of each day, or after a really important activity, take a few minutes to reflect back. So you can, do it on your mental notepad, write it down in your OneNote or notebook or in your phone, whatever you prefer. Ask yourself, what did you achieve and what could you improve? This habit not only creates learning, but it also drives continuous improvement. And you'll be able to spot what has been distracting you, what you need to put in place next week so that the same doesn't happen again if that was really unhelpful. So I'm going to give you a real example from a coachee of mine a couple of months ago, in fact, and I'm anonymizing everything. I've had a coaching session that's led this marketing leader to a better place for her. So she had a routine of basically cramming all of her one-to-one meetings with her direct reports into Mondays. It was a day that was dedicated to her direct reports. And she was hoping to gather insights that day, on the Monday, for her Tuesday marketing team meeting that was taking place every Tuesdays. So as a result, I'm basically making it simply a concise summary of our sessions, but she was too rushed to listen to her team. Through the sessions that we had, she realized that her primary goal was actually to build strong relationships and understand her team's needs. Because it turns out her team was relatively newly formed, and she had been heading it for just about 5 months. So more than anything, forming a bond and getting to know them, and as much as them getting to know her, was a priority for her. So cramming all the meetings and rushing through everything to gather insights, pragmatic insight for the next day, just was the complete opposite of what she needed to do in order to succeed. So the solution became rather clear, in fact. By spreading the one-to-ones throughout the week, she not only got the insight that she needed, but she deepened her connections with every single member of her team. Because that change allowed her to prepare better, to be present more in the moment during the 1 hour one-to-one she had with every single one of them, reflect more, and leading to richer interactions as opposed to rushing off to the next topic and taking notes and so on. It was a much more productive team at the end when she started implementing the one-to-one spread throughout the week. And what I'm going to say now is that action isn't always the best thing to go after. One of the biggest hurdles for marketing leaders is to allow themselves the time to plan and reflect. Again, another time expression here. It's so tempting to fill every moment with an action, something to do, and I know many of us are motivated by ticking a box, getting stuff done. That isn't always a good thing, especially in high pressure environment where we're just, that's how we've been kind of shaped to think. But true productivity stems from thoughtful preparation and reflection. And I do have that with my coachees. And I can sense that a lot of them at first think that slowing down and pausing isn't a good thing because it's often perceived as being a bit either lazy, unproductive, not knowing what to do, and action is always better rewarded than a thinking time or a pause. And in fact, that's completely bullshit. While slowing down may feel like taking a step back, in fact, what you're doing is you're taking a look back to take 2 steps ahead. So I'm going to leave you with 5 reflecting questions. What are your top 3 priorities today? Start each day by identifying basically the most important tasks that align with your long-term goals. It's going to help you stay focused and avoid getting lost in all the noise that surrounds you. And I'd even encourage you to not start by numbering them 1, 2, 3, and so on. Instead, start with 3, and then go to 2, and then finish with 1. Because mentally, 1 being the decreasing last point, it's less tempting to add to that than when you do 1, 2, 3, because then 4, 5, and 87 come straight away, and you end up with an awful list of stuff to do. It's too tempting. Second question is, are you giving your full attention to each meeting? Evaluate whether you're really truly present in your meetings, you're listening actively, are you distracted by what's next on your agenda? And don't take this too lightly. You're a leader of a team. Your team's not a bunch of data. They're people who are relying on your ears, your support, your listening, your presence, your thoughts, your reflection, your presence. It doesn't have to be task-led always. There are many other things to pay attention to in order to get a team to perform and feel motivated. So step back and ask yourself also, what are your top distractions? What prevents you from doing that? What might you need to keep away from you in order to give your full attention in these meetings with these guys? The third question is, how did today's activity align with your strategic objectives? So at the end of the day, reflect on how your actions contributed to your broader goals. It helps you stay on track and make adjustments as needed. You don't need an hour aside to do that. Just 5 minutes will do. Turn off your screen and just think. Or take a piece of paper and write this down like we used to do in the 80s. I still do. Move any distractions away from you for 5 minutes. Don't use time as an excuse. I've heard many coaches also do that. I've got no time to do that for stuff that are really important for them. You can find the time. You just don't want to, and you've put blocks in front of you. Fourth question is, what can you delegate? So consider all the tasks that could be handled by others. You don't have to do them. You don't have to do all of them. Is it that you like to have control over this information? You're going to have to learn how to let go of it and give people more independence. Delegate effectively frees up your time for high priority activities that require your expertise. And the higher you go in marketing ranks, the more time you need to spare and spend on the strategic piece, which is not a thing you do. You've got to think about it. You need to have time and space dedicated for that. And the fifth and the last question is, how can you improve your work-life balance? Because yes, you're passionate about your work, you want to make an impact, you want to be competent and with intent. You're a marketing leader, but first and foremost, you're a whole person, you're a whole marketeer. Your body doesn't differentiate from, work stuff and personalized stuff, be it stress or happiness. It does stimulate the stress or the happy stuff from both. So regularly assess how well you're balancing work demands and personal time. Ensure you've got time to recharge, because it's really crucial for sustained productivity and well-being. And also to give a good example to your team. If you over-rely on time management techniques and it's just not working, it's because you've missed out on the biggest enabler of all, you. So ditch the outdated notion of time management stuff and focus instead of managing yourself within the time that you have. Your time is precious, make it count. Thank you for joining me on another insightful episode of The Marketing Whisperer. If you found value in this episode, I'd be so grateful if you could leave a rating and a review on the podcast app of your choice. It really would help me reach more marketing leaders like you who could benefit from these insights in return. And I'd love if you would join upon my community of marketing leaders. All details are available on my website, startingblockscoaching.com. And lastly, if you're seeking one-to-one coaching, group workshops maybe for your team, leadership training, marketing expertise or career advice, basically everything that makes you a better marketing leader, feel free to get in touch with me on LinkedIn. Search for Magali Leroux. I don't know how else to pronounce it to make it easier. Speak soon.